On June 20th, 1997, Square Enix released one of the greatest tactical RPGs to ever exist in Final Fantasy Tactics. This game, by all accounts, is a classic in every sense of the word and held to the highest regard among those who have played this game. Unfortunately, by modern days, the game was not available on modern platforms until the newly released Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles. With this remaster, Square Enix aims to bring the game to the modern audiences while retaining what made the original classic so special. As a longtime fan of the franchise and as someone who has now played this game for the fifth time, I can safely say that Final Fantasy Tactics The Ivalice Chronicles is the definitive version of this game. This game is everything that, as a fan, I would want from a remaster of this classic. First and foremost, you don't need me to tell you how good this game is. If you've played Final Fantasy Tactics before, you know how good it is. If you've never played Final Fantasy Tactics before, I highly recommend you do so because this game has phenomenal writing, phenomenal characters, a great story, great gameplay, lots of depth with the customization. It has everything that you could possibly want in a tactics RPG game. That being said, what they've done here is they've taken the classic game and brought it to the new audience in a perfect way. First and foremost, you have the option to play the game in its original form of the classic original PlayStation release, or you can play the enhanced version of the game. So what is the enhancements? What do they do? Well, first and foremost, let's talk presentation. Obviously, the game will run at a higher resolution, but also a better frame rate. The original PS1 Classic did have frame drops at very selected points, but thankfully those have been addressed. But more importantly, when it comes to the presentation of the game, they have removed the standard CGI and updated those cutscenes with actual animated cutscenes, which are absolutely fantastic and fit the game as you would expect it to fit. On top of this being a modern day take, you also have voiceovers. The voiceovers are absolutely fantastic. They have done a very, very good job with the voiceovers. And overall, it really helps with the story and moving the story along because the dialogue is absolutely fantastic and they perform it very well. From a gameplay perspective, they've made quite a bit of quality of life changes. First and foremost, the game now has a difficulty option, something that wasn't present before. And they have made a slew of other adjustments. For example, one of the adjustments they have is now when you load into a map and you're selecting how you want to place your characters, you actually see the map itself. In the original game, you didn't see the map. The original game was basically a black screen and a bunch of slots where you would select your grid and you didn't see the map. So you wouldn't know if there was going to be a tree or a pool of water in front of you, nothing. Now you get to do that because they have added that. You can see that as you place your troops at the beginning of a fight. Another thing they added is during combat, every character has a numerical value by their name, and that numerical value is to correspond to when their next turn is. On the left side of the screen, you actually have the turn order. And when you cast spells and things that require cast time, it will tell you when that spell will be cast. These are all quality of life changes that really enhance the moment-to-moment gameplay. More changes that were added were also the changes that now when you go through the job function, they actually have a job tree where it shows you exactly what jobs you need to unlock, what levels they need to be in order to unlock the next job. All of these things are little quality of life changes that they've added to the game. Furthermore, one of the other things that I really like in terms of what they've done with the gameplay is they've also tweaked some of the balance changes. I don't want to get into too much specificities, but they did change some of the balance changes to make it better than what it was before. Again, I don't want to go into specificities without spoiling it, but there is a couple of changes that they made that were very, very nice from a gameplay and a balance perspective. Another change that they have also done is when you're doing an actual, like a dungeon run, or you're basically storming a castle or things of that nature. In the original game, it would just tell you, floor 1, floor 2, floor 3. Here, they actually give you a map showing you the path at which you're going to go when you have to take on multiple battles at once. All of these things take these little minor pain points that were present in the original game and remove them and make it streamlined and far more easier to enjoy. All in all, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, is the definitive version of this game. As stated at the beginning of the video, this is a classic, and it is a classic for a reason. Much in the same way, Final Fantasy VII is a tentpole title for the history of Square Enix. Same with games like Chrono Trigger. Final Fantasy Tactics is right up there, and anyone who has played this masterpiece will agree to that. If you've never played this game before, now is the time to play it, because it is one of the best tactical RPGs you will ever play, bar none. Overall, as a long-time fan of this game, I was very happy to give them my money. I really enjoyed playing this for my 5th time, and it never gets old for me. I highly recommend Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, and I'm giving this remaster a 10 out of 10. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.